racing. We saw this first discussed. I mean, it's been a topic going on for a long time, right? How many times have we heard people say in the heat of the day, and man, they wait to run these cars.
Where's that graphic you made, JT?
I know.
I've got a cool graphic with Tyler Crossnow in it.
Where is that at?
Yeah.
You need to dig that up.
You want me to dig it up real quick?
Yeah, dig that up real quick.
While you guys are talking, I'll dig it up.
While we're breaking this down, first and foremost, we saw this with our most recent Outlaw issue of Drag Illustrated magazine, where we had Mark Woody Woodruff on the cover, and the headline read, "What would Woody do?" And one of the conversations that Woody and I had when we were putting together that cover story was about what he would do to, I think fix is a bit of a stretch because it indicates that there's something really, really, really wrong. I don't know that that's the case, but that, just for the sake of this discussion, I asked him, like, what would you do to fix radial racing, Radial versus the World specifically? And the first thing he said was embrace the fact that we only run these cars on super glued tracks in the middle of the night. Essentially, I'm paraphrasing again, but his point was, if we would recognize that these things it was never meant to be a category that's raced 27 times a year. It was never meant to be a category that was raced even a dozen times a year. It was always supposed to be a freak show. That was what Donald Long had in mind when he created Radial versus the World, was come down here and run my radial guys. Anybody. Put radials on it and come down here and my guys will crush you. And it kind of evolved into an eliminator in and of itself, which it never was really meant to be.
And Donald and other promoters saw an opportunity to try to put more races during that downtime between February and October. But Donald had it right from the start of racing only in February and October. And
he did.
He's done this, the Radial Outlaws, and we were looking at the schedule because we started talking about what else is going on. When's the next Radial Outlaws race? Like, that's got to be coming up, right?
October.
The last one was in April at Steele, Alabama, and the next one is No Mercy in October. So they've all, even though they're having a point series now, they're still taking off the entire
warm weather season
months. I mean, they're not even messing with spring.
Are you guys on board with it? I mean, JT, you're probably our resident radial fanatic. I mean, are you guys on board with the fact that, hey, we just put this shit up or put different tires on it during the summer, we race it somewhere else, and just let those moments be something that are unique or independent one-off type of things?
I mean, I think you're going to have to. I mean, that's what started the whole thing, you know, and then there was all the build up to it until the next race, right? And there was only a few. And each one, I mean, like Lights Out was a marathon of a race, right? I mean, I don't know how many qualifiers, but by the end of it, you look around and people just look like, and they're like,
it literally looked like a war zone.
Like, you know, two black eyes, and it was horrible. But man, yeah, I mean, I guess that's how it's going to be.
Mike, what's your stance on it?
Speaking of this, hold on, I've got the in the heat of the day.
You got the graphic.
Okay, I want to see this graphic. Tyler Crossnow in the heat of the day, walking across the
straight
desert.
Off the trailer in the heat of the day.
In the heat of the day. I forgot about that one.
John Sears.
That's hilarious, man. But it's funny because I think that I'm okay with it, to be honest, and I'm okay with it being this rare air. Like, I would almost say that maybe you embrace that home run derby kind of aspect of it, that, hey, we only do this a handful of times a year. We wait till the time is right. We do it. We're sorry. We run late at night, you know, like maybe embrace some of those things instead of letting them be something that people bash on or bitch and complain about. Find a way to turn the tables there and say, no. This is what makes what we do special. What makes what we do special is the fact that we run at night. We run on the ultra prepped racetracks. There's a lot of things that you could make a selling point. I think, and I mean, one of the points that Woody made in the cover story, which was fantastic, that Nate Van Wagenen and he ghost wrote it basically for me. And he did a fantastic job on that story. But one of the points that Woody made was a lot of those Radial versus the World guys were drawn to that type of competition, that class, because of the special treatment, because of the big prize money, because of the pomp and circumstance, because of the incredible track prep. They knew that it was like a real opportunity as a high-level drag racer to get real deal special treatment. They're going to prep the track after every pass. We're going to race late at night. And his argument, which I think is super valid, was basically, hey, dude, if you made Radial versus the World, pay good money. It doesn't have to pay $101,000 or whatever, but pay good money, but treat these guys, whatever you're doing, no matter who's in the lane, no matter where you're at in the show, stop at 8 o'clock and we're going to run RVW. Like, keep one lane open, and these guys, we're shutting everything down. Sorry, if you want to get this type of treatment, buy an RVW tech card or build a car, and lean into the fact that these things are completely out of control. It's almost, I'm trying to think of examples that exist. It would almost be like having a baseball game and like one inning is played by players that are on steroids or something.
Well,
it's almost like 2 All-Star games in a year.
Yeah.
And you have to show up for regular season.
Well, the whole problem is that the Radial racers, I feel, they have to lean into it and accept that. And I feel like everyone's been trying to push Radials as, a year-round permanent class. And it's just not. We're finding that now that it's not. And that's why we race big tires. That's why big tire classes and big tire cars will continue to exist, because you can race them year-round. And you have to navigate all the different conditions that the different seasons bring. And that, to me, is at the heart of drag racing. And also,
I agree,
focusing on who wins the race, who wins the championship versus who's resetting the record every qualifying round. I think that led to this. But you have to lean into it. We don't care who wins the race. We care who sets the record. We don't care that we race at midnight. All those things, like you said, lean into it and embrace it, and stop trying to, force it. It's not going to work, and just let the other big tires take over during the summer.
think we've seen some of the guys that do want to race more move on, and maybe, we've seen some of them throw their hats into pro mod, and we've seen several cars go to no prep. So a lot of these racers that do want to race more, I think, are trying some different types of racing.
Is there a better example right now than Manny Bajinka?
Yeah,
right. Because that guy can take the wheelie bars off that thing, put 275s.
I think it was built for no prep originally.
It was built to be a multi-purpose car. Yeah, you're right. I mean, he built that car to race in no prep. Come out of Skinny Kids race cars. He built that car to run no prep Kings, but he wanted to be able to run Pro 275 as well. And he's a great example of a guy that's more than I can't imagine he's not going to go to No Mercy, right? He's not going to go to a Sweet 16 style of event or a lights out style of event, but he can, if he wants to race a lot, he can spend his summers kind of doing this no prep Kings thing, or he could easily dive into a gazillion of these different big tire deals that are going on, or other no prep events that are going on, or have a secondary car. If he wanted to be in Radial versus the World competition, for example, he most assuredly could build a PDRA Pro Boost or Pro Nitrous car, or an NHRA legal Pro Mod car, and then 2-3 times a year put radials on it, which is what I was hoping was going to happen, like at the height of in the lights out 7, 8, 9 kind of time frame. Remember we would hear about like Jason Harris at the time. He was like a dominating force in PDRA Pro Nitrous. Yep. And I show up in Valdosta and I see him. I see Tommy Franklin, PDRA Pro Nitrous champion. Like I would see those guys, and you thought, there's a chance. And how cool would it be if they did what they were dedicated to doing, chasing a championship in PDRA or NHRA or wherever they roam, but 2-3 times a year, throw their hat into the ring on a super prepped, no holds barred radial race type of event. It'd have been cool to see. And maybe that's where this whole thing settles out, as a guy spends the rest of his season doing NMCA or doing other sanctions and series, Northeast Outlaw Pro Mods. But we could probably bring back some of the luster and put a little shine back on radial racing if we quit treating some of these nuances as handicaps and started treating them as superpowers.
Yeah. I like that. And it would help radial racing as a whole if you got some of these guys to come down there and throw their hat in the ring. I mean, I think it'd be super fun to watch.
I surely think so as well. I was just literally shocked whenever Mike jumped into our conference call the other day. He's like, dude, there's not another Radial Tire, Fuel Tech Radial Tire Radial Outlaws event until October. And I'm like, oh, well, no wonder I haven't been hearing much about it lately. Right. You know what I mean? Like but it is, and I do worry sometimes a little bit about that deafening silence that comes between events. However,
don't worry, Donald's resurfaced.
He's waiting in the wings.
You know that the storm is brewing.
Yeah, 100%.